Doubleheader LeBron and the Lakers in Miami to take on Jimmy Butler and the surging Heat at 7 p.m. Eastern. Then the T-Wolves host the Clippers. Both games are on ESPN, and they are on your app, so you can watch it anywhere. More NBA good stuff. Big Eastern Conference showdown tonight between the Celtics and the 76ers. Both teams undefeated at home this season. Boston currently in the 3 seed ahead of 4th place Philly, although the teams are in a virtual tie. The point guard matchup between Kemba Walker and Ben Simmons will be critical in this game. Max?
Yep.
Let me ask you this. Who's more important to their team? Is it Kemba or Simmons?
Kemba Walker. Simmons is having an unbelievable year defensively. I'll leave that to you.
UConn.
But Simmons' offense has not progressed. Kemba Walker, it's not just about the 23 PER, which is like right below MVP level, or the fact that he's averaging 22, whatever other stats Stephen A. could tell you. You could look it up. You know, he's an offensive player. It's not just that. It's the effect he has on his teammates. Watch the Celtics play. They're having fun. They're winning. And this is what I predicted. The difference between Kemba and Kyrie is Kyrie soured the feeling. And Stephen A. has talked many times about Gordon Hayward and how the coach favored Hayward. But meantime, you take Kyrie off, you put Kemba on, Tatum's blossomed. Jaylen Brown's blossomed. Gordon Hayward, when he's healthy, is playing well. Kemba is, and by the way, he was renowned for that effect on a locker room before he ever got to Boston, right? It was, let me just read you some headlines. Just give you an example. I don't know, they just lost a game the other day. What do the headlines say? Sloppy Boston Celtics waste classic Kemba game. Kemba Walker loving his young teammates. I'm literally just reading what's popping up, you know, if you Google it. Huge night from Kemba. Kemba relishes his role as a closer. Kemba Walker stays ready, according to Yahoo Sports, even in blowouts when it matters for the Celtics. Like, everyone's happy. Everyone's happy in Boston with Kemba there. And so you can compare Kemba's offense to Simmons' defense. And by the way, Kemba's defense, which is underrated. Kemba's not a great defender, but he's a willing defender. And you can look up, if you Google Kemba defense, I'll bet you see articles on Kemba, underrated defensively, right? Versus Kemba's offense to Simmons' defense, I get it. You can do all those things, but then ask. Part of a point guard's job is what effect is it having on his team? The Celtics are overachieving, it seems, and the Sixers are underachieving. Sixers were favored heavily over the Celtics. That's why the Celtics are only one game better. But that is the influence of Kemba Walker on the team. And Stephen A. right now and for this season, he is more important than Ben Simmons to the Sixers.
Well, I don't think this is the day for me to try to come to the defense of Kyrie Irving. I mean, damn, how long is that injury going to last? You missed about 13 games now. When the hell are you coming back?
I think he's just over it because KD's not there this year?
No, I'm not going to accuse him of that. But I'm just saying, you Kyrie Irving, this is the Barclays Center, this is Brooklyn, New York. I mean, damn, people miss you. We ain't coming to the bar. I love him, but we ain't coming to the Barclays Center. We didn't look forward, rather, to coming to the Barclays Center because of Spencer Dinwiddie. He can ball, and I love him, and I'm glad he got his money. But that's not why we were looking forward to going to the Barclays Center this year. That's number one. Now let me get back to Philadelphia and say why I respectfully disagree. I love Kemba Walker. He's a sensational player, and he was the quintessential replacement for Kyrie Irving because their games mirrored one another offensively to some degree. We all know that. Michael Jordan and I have spoken about that on many occasions. What I'm saying to you, however, is when I think about Philadelphia, we talked about Boston. Jalen Rose said that they were the best perimeter shooting team when you talked about Boston. But when we talked about who's the team that's going to come out of the East, I think Jalen picked Philly. I picked Philly. You did. Why? Because we looked at Joel Embiid, we looked at what they were going to be defensively, and we looked at Ben Simmons. And when you talk about their defense, Boston is a damn good defensive team, like 4th in the league. You know who's number 3? Philadelphia. And when you look at what they're bringing to the table defensively and how they've won a lot of their games, there is no question that Ben Simmons has a lot to do with that. He's been absolutely sensational defensively. There's no question. Hasn't seemed to have worked on his shot. We get all of that. He's averaging 14 a game. We get all of that. But when I look at Tobias Harris averaging 19 points on 48% shooting, when I look at Josh Richardson averaging 15 points on 44% shooting, when I look at the parts around Ben Simmons and how they flourish because he pushes the ball up the floor better than most, his handle is nasty, his court vision is surreal. He obviously has the size and the physicality to get it to those open shooters because everyone knows he can finish at the basket. So when he's attacking the basket, you have to pay attention to him because he's not just attacking looking to pass. He's attacking because he can finish That has opened up other guys for taking shots. And I contend with you, Max, when I look at the 76ers and their 18-7 record, and I'm not saying this as an extreme negative because I like Brett Brown and I actually root for him and his staff. What I am saying is this. Somewhere along the way, when we look at the Philadelphia 76ers and what they're lacking, although we know some of the offensive challenges Ben Simmons has something to do with it, because imagine if he was better offensively, what they could do. The biggest component, Max, we pay attention to is how Brett Brown is coaching Joel Embiid, because we know that if Joel Embiid was doing more and was more aggressive, we know Philly would be monsters.
You know, I'll bet you if Kemba Walker was on the team, Embiid would be better. Kemba Walker has that effect. It's not just the numbers in his game, which is similar to Kyrie's. He's not quite Kyrie's talent. Kyrie's an otherworldly talent and skills and everything, but Kemba's the best approximation you can get. But the way he gets guys to play together, the atmosphere that he creates.
He's a great dude.
There's no question. And we talk about Simmons' offensive game. He needed to develop a shot. He hasn't done that. But do you know what the questions were coming into this season on Kemba Walker, right?
What?
I Googled it while you were talking. I said, I'll bet you if you Google it on defense, you'll find like, oh, he's underrated defensively. Sure enough. More than just a scorer. Celtics guard Kemba Walker making a defensive impact. Yahoo Sports. You go to Kemba Walker's defense has been a pleasant surprise. And other Boston.com. Kemba becoming a take charge guy on D2. NBC Sports. I mean, like, the questions were, what kind of defensive player could Kemba be like? Because there are no other questions. You know he can approximate Kyrie. You know he'd be a good offensive player. You know he's good in the locker room. Could he? Yes. The answer is yes. The thing he had to address, he's addressing. The thing Simmons had to address, if anything, his efficiency numbers on offense have gone the other way.
Well, I'm not trying to sit up there and say that Ben Simmons has done more or has been more effective with his offseason than Kemba Walker's had. I'm not implying that. I'm simply saying Kemba is Kemba. But what Ben Simmons could mean to the Philadelphia 76ers, to me, makes him more pivotal. Because we're looking at Boston and judge whether you think they're going to win or not based on what you're seeing. When we look at Philadelphia, we're waiting. If Ben Simmons,
to see him unlock it.
All right.
We need to
Money
see
on the
Simmons
line, gun to your head. Who are you picking out of the East right now?
Me personally, it would be Milwaukee.
Pure gut.
It would be Milwaukee. But I think that Philadelphia is the one team that has a chance to upend them.
Okay.
You know, ultimately we agree about that because you saw Kawhi just by a hair get by the Sixers last year, but that was with Jimmy Butler. And it's no accident that the Miami Heat are 18-6 right now. And Butler was actually looking back at it, the best player on the team last year.
And a lot of people thought Milwaukee was going to take a step back this year.
No.
Can I veer left with a quick point before we get? I got some news for Max Kellerman. Breaking news.
What?
Major League Baseball and MLBPA agree to changes to joint drug program, adding testing for opioids. Marijuana removed from, quote, drugs of abuse.
Oh, it's nice. About time.
Just want to let you know.
Yep.
Just want to let you know. That's a Major League Baseball. I didn't know weed was an issue there. I knew the other stuff was. I didn't know weed.
No, it's about time all the sports leagues stop testing, especially if you're in partnerships with alcoholic beverage companies. You don't need to be testing for
I had a
a
conversation with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson about that. I was on their podcast. It comes out today.
I'm trying to think of what position they would take. Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson.
Contact high after you left there.
My brothers.
Lamar's legs have been the story of the NFL season, but find out why his success could fade if he had to rely on his arm. Keep it locked. It's First Take.